Hey everyone, welcome to Alltalk Watches Twin Peaks. This week we talk about the final two episodes of The Return, Season 3, episodes 17 and 18. I am Mr. X, and who else is here?
Kevin's here.
Once more into the breach, dear friends. Once more, Totoro.
Well, it ended.
Yep.
Did it?
Probably.
Well, Showtime said there wasn't going to be another season.
Well, I thought I saw something that Sherilyn Finn said that if people liked this season, that David Lynch might try to do more. But I don't know. I don't know if that was someone's hope or what. And then they're also coming out with the final dossier at the end of October, which is yet another book.
Okay.
Final sounds pretty final.
Yeah, that's true. So should we just get started with episode 17?
Yeah, and I think we should break it down into episode 17 and then go into episode 18.
Yeah, I know there was much more to my notes in episode 17 because a lot more happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was.
Yeah.
Let's say that it was a lot more straightforward.
Yeah, mostly, except for one image overlay that lasted for like 20 minutes.
That's true. We'll get there.
You want to kick us off, X?
So the show opened with Gordon, and someone said to him that you've gone soft in your old age, or he said that to himself.
No, Albert said that to him.
That's
because he wasn't able to take his gun out and shoot the Diane Tulpa.
That's right. Yeah. So he's gone soft in his old age,
but not where it counts.
Yep.
Which I was like, oh my god, that's so. That's such a old guy thing to say.
Especially a old guy Gordon thing to say.
So Major Briggs had told Coop and Gordon about Judy. Only, what was the real name that they gave?
Oh, it was
Zhao Day or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. So only those two and Philip Jeffries knew about Judy. But Philip Jeffries doesn't really exist anymore.
Sure, he's a huge tea kettle.
Yeah, he's a humidifier. And Coop told Gordon if he goes missing that he should go find him.
No matter what.
Yeah, no matter what. And then the Vegas FBI calls to deliver the message. Well, no, they call, and then Dougie Jones' boss shows up to deliver the message. And Gordon cannot believe that Dougie is Cooper.
And that, well...
Yeah, and then they go through all the things that Dougie Jones did. And then they said, yeah, that's strange, even for Cooper. So yeah, this whole scene was basically just like an info dump to catch Gordon and company up to speed with the audience. Yeah, then what happened?
Well, it goes to the jail cells.
Yeah.
And then the dick cop trying to be sneaky, watching that the guy who we still never understand what he was in there for,
guy with the
who
messed
just
up
repeats
face?
everything.
Was he drooling or was he bleeding from the mouth?
Both.
But little both. His mouth was wide open in every scene he was in.
Every scene he was in.
But yeah, so he's kind of like about to fall asleep because repeating people is tiring.
Yeah, but then before anything happens with the bad cop in there, I think it cuts to Doppelcooper. It did establish everyone in there though, and I think James and Freddie were like, "What's the deal with this lady?"
Yes, yeah, it goes back and forth. That's right, because then it goes to the Doppelcoop going to the Rabbit's Foot place. Is that what it was called?
Oh, Jack Rabbit's Palace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then things got a little weird again because he went in there.
Yeah, he went through like a portal, which then took him to the sheriff's department.
Well, before that happened, I think Ben Horn got a call about Jerry's binoculars killing someone.
Yeah, he's somewhere in like Wyoming.
Yeah.
Naked.
Which, oh god. Yeah, of course he is.
How much drugs did he do?
All of them, obviously. Uppers, downers, just the whole thing.
Yeah, and that is the last time we saw Ben Horn.
And Jerry Horn.
No, we didn't even see him.
Oh, no, that's right. That was the last time Jerry was mentioned, though, I think.
And we never saw Ashley Judd again, or her character, or her or her whole storyline. So yeah, then cut back to Doppelkoop. He makes it to Jackrabbit's palace.
Yeah, and then he goes...
Yeah, he makes it into... It's not the Black Lodge, right?
No, he go... What the hell does he go into?
Well, he's in a room where there's two floating heads. His head, but his head is in a cage.
And then
there's
Garland Briggs.
Briggs.
Or Briggs, yeah. And then he goes through a tube thing?
Yeah, he gets sucked up into a little... Yeah, he gets sucked up into a little gold machine and then spit into the image that's on the screen there. And then it teleports him to the sheriff's station.
And then back to the jail cells.
Well, before that, it was showing a picture of a house on the wall.
Was that where... See, I don't remember paying it because I was like trying to figure out what was going on with the faces.
Right. But was the house the Palmer house?
Was it that, or was it the house in South Dakota where Hastings heads blown? See, we haven't had opportunity to watch this more than once.
Yeah.
So, although I don't know that Kevin will ever watch it again.
I don't know.
But yeah, but he gets transported somewhere, and initially you don't know where.
Yeah. But then it's revealed that the camera pans around and it's the sheriff's station.
And there's our good buddy Andy.
Yep, but the no-eyed lady starts freaking out too. After Andy greets Doppelcooper thinking he's Coop.
Yeah, NATO.
Yeah, she is freaking out. And then while she's freaking out, the drooling guy passes out for a second. And then Bad Cop has the old key in the boot.
Well, and actually, so while this is all happening, Doppelkoop has gotten seated with Sheriff Truman, and they're having a somewhat tense conversation.
You knew it wasn't Coop because they asked, "You want some coffee?" And he said, "No, I'm fine."
Oh yeah, that's
so
how you know
it's not Coop.
Oh yeah.
Well, but Frank didn't know Coop originally.
That's true.
So then, while that's happening, then
then
Dick Cop
gets out of his
pull
cell.
out a key. Yeah,
he had a false bottom on his boot. It slid open, and he had the cell key in there.
It's kind of a smart move. A little odd that he would just happen to keep that.
Well, I guess he was prepared. I mean, he was a crooked cop. He had to expect to get busted at some point.
That's the only way in which he was like a Boy Scout. He was always prepared.
Yep. Yeah, and she's still freaking out while this is happening. And then I think Andy got a weird vision at some point.
Yeah. He was talking to Lucy while this was all going on, I think, right? And then he saw himself running through the hallway.
Right.
And then it was just kind of ignored almost. I don't know. He didn't react to it really.
He said to Lucy, very important, and then took off. And then the weird guy, the drooling guy, starts tearing the twine and bandages that were on his face off.
Yeah, and then Chad, Andy comes down, Chad's there, and Chad has a weapon. And
he's got a pistol, and he's gonna kill Andy.
But Freddy's having none of it.
Freddy said, "I got this superpowered glove, so I'm gonna punch the cell and save the day."
Freddy, the real Iron Fist.
Yes,
right.
The rubber fist.
The rubber fist, yeah.
So yeah, he punches the cell door open, and it just kind of flies open and knocks Chad out.
And then it cuts back to Doppelkoop and Frank, and he gets a phone call. Frank gets a phone call from the real Coop. And Coop says, "I'm on my way. Is the coffee on?"
And that kind of turns everything, because I think he's probably heard about Cooper from his brother and then the other cops, or the other deputies.
Yep.
And then I think at that point, that's when Doppelkoop realizes that he's been had, or not been had, but
busted,
that they're
found out.
Yeah, that he's been found out. So he starts to try to pull Han shot first.
But Lucy shot first. Oh my god. How great was that?
That was so good. Lucy came in and saved the day. Was that crazy? Or did, like... Frank's hat, like,
Frank's
pop
hat popped
off?
up. It popped up.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought
But
he got shot as well. Yeah.
I was looking for a bullet hole in the, like, maybe his hat got shot.
But no, Lucy saved the day. She came running in and shot him because she figured out how cell phones work now. And Coop's still on the phone with Frank, says, don't touch the body. Don't touch Doppelcoop. Stay away from him.
Yeah, and so then everyone kind of, Andy and them come in standing around. And
James
Andy,
and Freddy with him.
Yeah, Andy, I finally understand cell phones.
Yeah, Lucy is the best.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, so they run in, and then the woodsmen come out.
Yeah, and
they start doing
that blood thing
voodoo.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coop shows up like midway through, and then they're all just kind of standing around, and then a ball bob.
Yeah, that black orb comes out of Doppelcoop's stomach, and then it's revealed to be Bob.
A Bob ball. Jeez. And he can float and attack people?
Yeah, and then Coop said, "Are you Freddy?" And then Freddy's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You know what to do." And then in my notes, I just put an epic battle of good versus evil.
I don't know what the Bob entity was doing though, because it was just like an orb. So it was like scratching him though. I don't know.
I think it was repeatedly like hitting him in the face. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Freddy literally punched Bob straight to hell. Like he punched it into the ground, and then big flames started coming up.
This was after this went on for a couple minutes.
Yeah, but then that didn't stop him. Bob came back from hell.
It almost looked like Bob was gonna win too.
Yeah, it was a good fight scene.
I don't know about a good fight scene. It was a good scene.
It was
that happened to be a fight.
I don't even know if I'd call that a fight.
People got hurt. There was punching, and then Freddy punches the Bob ball one more time and smashes it into a bunch of little pieces. So Bob has been defeated by Freddy, a character that was introduced 3 episodes ago.
Yep. And then, well, maybe, because all of his pieces just kind of floated into the air through the ceiling. So is he dead? Who knows?
Maybe.
We'll never know.
Or will we?
No.
So then what happened?
Well, what? He puts the ring on.
Yep, Coop puts the ring on him.
Oh, so with that, when he puts the ring, so he disappears, like what happens when you get the ring put on. But they only show in the lodge the ring just fall to the ground. They don't show Doppelcoop there at all. So
they did show Doppelcoop there.
Did they?
Eventually. I think so. I want to say it showed him there burning.
Okay, I might have missed that then. Because I was going to say, it was very odd because I thought, wait, did he not go back or something? Because, like I said, the scene right after that, it just shows it drop to the ground and no interaction or anything. It just cuts right back to the office.
Totoro, do you remember if it showed him sitting in the chair burning?
I remember there was definitely a scene where they were looking at the chairs, but I don't exactly remember the context.
Okay. Could have sworn he was sitting there and burning and then disappeared.
Because I'm having a little, because I watched the 2 previous episodes because they did a whole 18-hour marathon.
Right.
I watched the 2 previous episodes, and in that I remember that in the previous one they had the Diane one in there, and she definitely did the whole black smoke thing, and
meanwhile everything that's been going on, the Meachams were there just watching all of it.
Well, at what point did Bobby come in and what's going on here?
The very end.
And then Bradley Meacham goes, took the fucking words right out of my mouth.
And they also said, one for the grandkids.
Well, that was after, because that was right after the reveal of who the lady was.
I think the one for the grandkids was first.
Well, okay, maybe it was.
Doppelcoop disappeared, and then they looked at each other and said, one for the grandkids.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah, and then Coop asked for the key to room 315.
Well, was that after?
Yeah,
was-
and then Bobby showed up. And then Gordon shows up. And then I think Coop says, now things that will change?
But it's like in that really deep voice
Yeah.
that like Doppelkoop had.
And then the lady, I can't remember her name, says, good thing that they made so many sandwiches.
Was that Candy?
I think so.
So yeah, so then NATO and Coop start to like move towards each other. They touch hands, and then like weird stuff starts to happen with her face.
Well, all the while this is happening, an image of Coop's face, just kind of like a kind of face, is just overlaid over everything happening.
Yeah, it's just superimposed.
And it's just like,
Yeah.
what is going on right now?
Twin Peaks is happening. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they touch hands, and then her face turns into like this rotting flesh orb thing. And then she turns back into Diane with red hair.
With red hair, yeah.
And then Diane and Coop start making out. And she remembers everything.
He's got magic lips.
Yep. I remember it showed the clock. The clock had stopped.
And then Coop, the background Coop says, "We live inside a dream."
Yeah, the giant Coop face says, we live inside a dream.
So guess what, guys? It was all a dream.
See, I really hope that's not the case. So he says that, though, then darkness.
Hello,
Yes.
darkness, my old friend.
Yeah, and then Coop, Diane, and Gordon are walking. And I think they go to where James was working, where he had to make sure the generator was on.
Well, I think that's just the Great Northern.
Okay. And then Coop uses the key. And then he says, see you at the curtain call.
Well, he says, don't follow me. He says, right,
Yeah.
whatever you do, don't follow me in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, says goodbye to Gordon and Laura Dern.
And then it's Coop and Mike. And Mike says, through the darkness of future past, the magician wants to see one chance out between two worlds. Fire walk with me.
And he says it regular, not weird speak.
Yeah.
You mean backwards?
Yeah.
So yeah, then they go to they start walking, and then they go to the Dutchman's and meet with Jeffries. And then that's where like he comes up and he says something that's like, in 1989, and goes on, and he's like, and then Jeffries is
February 23rd, 1989.
Be specific. And then then he's specific.
Yeah, he says February 23rd, 1989, and then Jeffrey says he'll find it for him, but it's slippery in there.
So yeah, then it goes back, and this looks like all archive footage, and it's all in black and white, and it's at night, so it's like really dark.
This is from Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah.
They're just straight up scenes from Fire Walk with Me in black and white, cut with shots of Cooper hiding in the woods.
Where he sees, well, I don't think he doesn't see James picking up Laura, but James picks up Laura on his bike.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have your she sees Coop in the trees and screams.
Yeah, in the Fire Walk with Me, she sees something in the woods and then screams, so we never knew what it was. Now we know it was Coop, because Coop time traveled.
And then, hey guys, remember Leo?
Yeah, shows Leo.
Yeah, it says here Laura talks to Coop. Is that actually Laura, or is that Ronette Pulaski?
That was Laura.
Because I know that Ronette was also credited in this episode.
Yeah, she was there with Leo.
Okay, that's what that was.
Because that was the scene where Laura goes with Leo and Ronette.
Okay, because like I said, this was like really dark, and you couldn't really tell what the hell was going on.
I think it was dark because it's 25 years later, and she was playing herself from 25 years ago. So they made it dark so you couldn't really tell that she had aged. Plus, it was in the woods at night.
So yeah, but Yeah, and then black and white.
Yeah.
And then so Coop reaches out to Laura and then basically takes her away from the situation.
Yeah, he saves her because it shows like her body that was in like the first episode wrapped in plastic on the beach, and it disappears.
And then
The implication being that Coop went back in time and stopped all of this from happening.
right, and then Pete. You have the whole thing with Pete and Catherine, and like Josie is in there. It's like the first parts of that first episode where Pete goes and finds Laura's body because he goes out fishing and notices her body.
Yeah,
and
only
then,
he doesn't. He just goes fishing and enjoys some fishing.
As it should be.
No body. It was just him fishing.
I was kind of happy to see Jack Nance in this in some way, even though it was archived footage, and I assume a body double when he was fishing.
It pretty much showed all of the characters, the series regulars that weren't from Twin Peaks that weren't in this show. I can't think of anybody that was in it except for Harry.
Right, but he's retired.
Yeah.
And he was referenced very heavily.
Yes. But I can't think of anybody else from the show. It was just like, oh, here's Leo and Pete and everybody else that was in the show but not in the original series.
Well, you know who didn't come back in this episode, which was a little disappointing.
Billy Zane.
Or these episodes. Wally.
That's true. Also Audrey.
But yeah, after it goes to the OG footage, we go to the Palmer household, which seems like just a lovely place to be.
Well, and this kind of looked like the 2017 version because
oh yeah, it was.
You could see all of the ashtrays were just filled with cigarette butts.
Yeah, no, I would have to say it would have been.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then there's some noises, some joyous noises.
Yeah, and then Sarah Palmer walks on the screen after like about a minute or two of just looking at a couch hearing weird noises. And she grabs Laura's pitcher and a bottle and starts like smashing the bottle on the pitcher. Only there's no damage done to the pitcher itself, just the frame. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, and they were also doing some like rewind play kind of things when she was smashing it over and over.
Well, if Laura never died, then Sarah never got possessed, right? Because that was Laura inside of her? Or it was kind of implied that it was, because it showed Laura smile when Sarah took her face off.
No, I think that was debunked.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard telling. I mean, and it could just be like she's just continually getting tortured and tortured.
Yeah, although if Laura was saved, Bob would have still been in Leland.
Correct.
So then it cuts back to Laura and Coop walking in the woods, and Coop is taking her to Jack Rabbit's palace. But before they get there, she disappears. And then credits. That was a pretty dense episode. Maybe the most dense of this series, because it just had so much stuff in it.
Yeah, this next one, not quite as much.
So, before we move on to the next one, because we kind of moved through that pretty quickly. So at the end of this episode, what were you guys expecting?
That I was gonna be happy.
I had no expectations. I thought maybe it was just gonna be cut back to the present and Laura was still alive.
Well, no, I was thinking it was just gonna be a cut back to the present. She was still dead. That's why she disappeared. I was expecting, oh, okay. He can't actually change it. She's gonna be dead. That that kind of thing. That's why she had disappeared on him. But nope.
I mean because the whole thing was weird because, like, after they did the whole thing with Doppelkoop and the Bob Ball, I was like, that was done pretty quickly, and then I looked at the clock, looked at my wife, and I was like, there is still 90 minutes left of this.
Yep. I had
what
the
in
same
the hell are they
exact
going to
thought.
do?
Yep. Because it was almost like too easy when they got rid of Doppelkoop. Because it's just like, oh, that was it. Like, there's no showdown between the Coops or anything. It's just Lucy blasts him. Freddy punches Bob.
Yeah,
and it's done.
David Lynch likes to play with your expectations. Hey, if everyone wants a showdown between the Coops, well, here's Freddy with his glove.
Oh, you want to
Here's
see
a
Agent
Bob
Cooper?
Ball.
Watch 16 episodes of the show, and then you will finally see him.
Yeah, we actually only got like an episode of Coop just being Coop, because in this last episode he was not acting like Coop.
Well, yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. Okay, this episode 18 opens with Doppelkoop burning in a chair.
I'm gonna have to double check that.
And then the seed happens, and then the seed pops, and then there's the new Coop. Oh, this is an electricity.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then this is D. Jones comes back.
Yeah, new Dougie.
Yeah.
Dougie Jones. Mr. Jackpots.
And he got home, and did he just repeat what she said to him?
He did.
Okay.
Home.
Is it the future or is it the past? I think this was flashbacks from the first episode.
Oh, I definitely remember some of this happening. And then the arm says, "Is it the story of the little girl who lived down the lane?"
And then Ray Wise is there.
Good old Leland.
And he says, "Find Laura."
And then he gets out. And I did just pull up the episode real quick. Yeah, it is Doppelkoop burning on a chair in the very beginning. So you're right. I don't know. I don't know.
We got out of sequence a bit.
Yeah.
Because hey, sequential storytelling. What a novel concept.
So, but then Coop gets out to Diane.
Yeah, Diane asks if it's really him.
And so this whole next part of it, because he said, is it the future or is it past? That's what has confused the hell out of me for the rest of this episode.
Who said that it's either?
Well,
it could be the alternate reality present.
Well, because that's one of the things that Bill Hastings' website talks about, is like they really try to perpetuate the whole many worlds.
Well, so the only reason I would think well, yes, so yes, it's a different world, clearly, as we'll get to later. But so after this, he's driving with Diane, and they wake up in Vegas area, I guess.
Well, it's definitely the Southwest. I think it's actually New Mexico, because of where they wind up, where Coop winds up later.
Yeah, they're driving in like an older car.
Well, was it an older car?
Yeah, it was an older car. They're driving, and then they go exactly 430 miles. And then Coop gets out, and then he like feels out with his hands, and they say, "Yep, this is the spot." Then he gets back in the car, and then they drive to a motel, and it's like one of those old style motels.
Right, almost like it's a motor coach or whatever.
Yeah. And then Diane sees Diane. Right, that happened. She saw herself, right?
Yeah, she's like standing near the entrance to the office or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. And then they go into the motel, and then it's sexy time. And the whole time, Coop is just straight-faced. No expression on his face whatsoever. And then Coop wakes up the next morning. Diane is gone, and there's a note on the table. And it says, "Dear Richard." I don't remember. I didn't catch all of the note, but then it's signed like, Linda.
Well, but it's like, you're not the man that I remember. I don't recognize you anymore.
Yeah. But it's to Richard, and when it was said Richard, I was thinking
Richard Horn.
Yeah, Richard Horn. Then it's signed Linda, and we've never heard of Linda before.
Well, I think there was someone in the Roadhouse, like, you know how there were those conversations near the end of the episodes.
Yeah,
I think one of them referenced to Linda.
Okay, yeah, it could be. I could see that.
Well,
but is that important or not? I don't know, because they didn't seem. I mean, yeah, they showed it, but like they didn't dwell on it.
Yeah.
So,
but then, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, so that whole part where, because yeah, you see the note, it's kind of confusing there, but the whole sequence before, to me, that was Doppelkoop.
Yeah, because he was so straight-faced and no emotion whatsoever.
And then when she was like crying, kind of, or like freaking out almost.
She was covering his face.
Yeah, because she knew it wasn't him.
It's possible.
That's what I got from it. That was
Like I said, Coop was not acting like
yeah.
Coop at all in this whole episode.
Yeah.
But then Coop leaves the hotel, or the motel, and it's not the same motel they checked into. It is a completely different building. It's like a modern, present-day one. And then he gets into a car, and it's a modern car. It's not the old car they drove there in.
Yeah, it looks like a Lincoln Town car, like one of the recent ones, but they stopped production in 2011.
Yeah.
And it's got the kind of the new style plain Texas license plate.
Yeah. And he's in Odessa now.
Which Odessa, Texas is, I believe, in western Texas, which would be kind of close to like New Mexico.
Is it 430 miles away from the test site from the bombs?
Vamp for a bit, and I'll tell you.
Okay. This episode was weird, Kevin.
Yep.
I thought it was weird that the whole car thing changed, because I don't know why, but I made a note that they were driving an old car to the old motel.
Yeah, I actually didn't notice that part.
Yeah, everything changed when the next morning when they came out.
I noticed the room and where it was parked and stuff, but I just wasn't really paying attention to the car. Or maybe it kind of crossed my mind, but I just never really really noticed.
Yeah.
No, it's not really. It's like 340 miles away from Trinity.
It's got the same numbers.
Who says where he and Diane went is Odessa?
That's true.
The sign? Oh, well, yeah.
They woke up, when he woke up, he was in someplace completely different, and a different time, I would say.
Yeah. So then he goes to get himself a nice cup of joe.
Yeah, at a place that's Judy's. It said eat at Judy's.
Yep. Quick side note, the waitress is Clint Eastwood's daughter.
Okay. I did not know that. Another thing that's weird, though, is she gave him the coffee, and he didn't have her wait to make sure the coffee was good, which is what Coop does.
Yeah, and then then there are those other guys who the Cowboys start harassing her, and
Yep.
he does tell them to stop, which is a very Coop thing to do. But then when they come over and they start to give him shit,
Yeah, they pull a gun on him.
they pull a gun on him, and he disarms one, shoots another, kicks the guy in the nuts, and then shoots the second guy in the foot, which seems a little like not Coop. I don't think Coop would do that unless he was feeling, very threatened.
That's not a Coop move. The other guy just was standing there. He didn't take a gun out or anything.
Yeah, but he told him to put his gun on the ground.
I don't have.
And he had to tell him put your gun on the ground. It's like, no, this is West Texas. I know exactly what the score is.
Yeah, so then he's holding 3 guns.
Well, temporarily until he drops them into a deep fryer.
Yeah, he gets Coop is asking about another waitress that works there. And she said, the waitress that's there said that the other waitress isn't working today. So then after he gets the guns, he goes and says, write down the address of the other waitress on a piece of paper, and then he deep fries the guns. He says, I don't know if this oil is high enough to set off those bullets, but I'd step away.
And then, like, right before he leaves, too, that's when he goes, yeah, I'm in the FBI.
I think he's acting like a combination of Cooper and Doppelcooper.
Yeah.
Almost like they're two parts of his real personality.
Yeah, like they got merged.
Like he's actually acting more like a regular FBI agent.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. Because Doppelcooper, when he would put the guns in the deep fryer, he wouldn't have told anyone to step away. Also, he would have just killed all 3 of them.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like even regular Coop, though, when the guy pulled the gun on him, he would have said something like, oh, you're going to shoot an FBI agent? Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, if you really want to play it that way, I mean, I guess.
So yeah, Coop goes up to the house, the address that he's given, and then he looks at the power lines and seems a little concerned. Because, power lines. And then he goes, knocks on the door, and Laura Palmer answers.
Does she?
Only she says she's not Laura Palmer. She says her name is Carrie Page. And Coop says, I want to take you to your house. Basically to see Sarah Palmer.
And that kind of triggers her a little bit. Like,
A little
Sarah,
bit.
who's like she recognizes Sarah. She didn't recognize Leland, but she recognized Sarah.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing was, like, they're like Twin Peaks, Washington. She's like, is that Washington, D.C.? No, Washington State.
Yeah, and she says she has to get some things right. Well, first she says that she needs to get out of town anyway, so this works out pretty well for her. Even
Yeah.
with an FBI agent. So she says, let me get some things ready. So Coop goes inside, and there's a dead guy sitting in the chair.
Like, yeah, he was shot in the head. There's a blood stain on the blood and I assume brain stain on the back, like
There was
of the
something
wall
wrong
behind
with
him.
and there was something wrong with his stomach too.
Well, he kind of looked like he'd been there for a while. So I mean, he could have been like bloated and distended.
That's true.
Because I think because he looked like really gray, and
Yeah.
so he looked dead, like, and he had been dead for a while.
Yeah. So then Laura comes out and says, do I need a jacket? Is it going to be cold there? And he says, you might want to bring a jacket if you have one. He says, oh, I have several. And she goes and gets a jacket. Then they leave, and they never address the dead body in the room, which is a very Twin Peaks thing.
Well, and then after that, it's like 15 minutes of driving?
Kind of. Yeah, they stop and get gas. She says that she tried to keep a clean house.
I'm gonna call bullshit on that.
No, I don't know. People are heavy. It's hard to move a body.
And she might not have done it. I mean, there's a good chance she did. I mean, it seems likely.
But then they're back to more driving.
Yeah, more driving.
And then, oh hey, Twin Peaks. Show what the double R.
Yep.
And then he's
They
like,
drive past the double R.
hey, you know where we are? She's like, no, I don't have a clue.
I don't recognize any of this stuff. So then they go to the house, and I butchered the name of the person that the current owner bought it from.
Well, it's Chalfont, and so it's the current owner is Alice Tremond, and they both got it from Chalfont.
I put Chow Fan because that's what I heard because it was kind of late. I was close-ish. Not really.
No,
Yeah,
But
whatever.
yeah, but that person that answered the door is the actual owner of that house in real life.
and yeah, like in Everett, Washington.
Oh,
yes.
really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that. That is actually pretty awesome.
Well, and so that's the thing. It's like if you look at where Twin Peaks is supposed to be versus where Everett, Washington is, it's like so if there are some people who are speculating that. Well, let's get through this last little bit here, and then we'll go
Okay.
back to that.
Yeah, and then they don't know who owned the house before, and Coop walks out, and then they're looking at the house, and then Coop asks, "What year is this?" And then I put Sarah scream, but I meant to put Laura screams.
Well, there's like some
Right.
talking or like a voice in the background that she
So-
hears something.
So what that is Sarah calling for Laura at the beginning of the first episode when she calls down to her to get up in the morning.
Okay,
Then she screams, and then it's over.
that's over. That's it.
What a
And
load
so-
of BS.
I think David Lynch just likes seeing her scream because she screamed so much in that series.
And in this episode as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the theory is that maybe they traveled to the real world.
Which I mean,
like to our world.
yeah, which I kind of like, but the thing about it that I don't like is that they should have been. If that was the case, then what I would have preferred to have happened is like there is no Twin Peaks, Washington, so let's try and find where this house is, and then they actually go to Everett, Washington, and then it's like, oh wait, oh okay, this is weird. Okay, maybe something's happened, but here's the house.
Well, maybe that's what happened because he didn't follow any maps or anything. He didn't use GPS.
But at the same time, it's. Where is the actual Double R restaurant?
I don't know.
So it's in North Bend, Washington. Let me look and see where North Bend, Washington is, because I think it's close. Okay, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Seattle area.
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
so so Twin Peaks is in eastern Washington, so that's why they fly into Spokane. Spokane is closer to Idaho than it is to Seattle, like by a long shot. So,
Okay.
So Seattle is right in the Puget Sound. To the east, there's Snoqualmie Falls, which is where the Great Northern is. That's what those falls are. So North Bend is just near Snoqualmie Falls. It's so it's there. It's to the east of Seattle by maybe, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes. Everett, Washington, is to the north of Seattle. That's where like the big Boeing plant is. So it's maybe an hour north of Seattle. To drive, right. So to drive from North Bend to Everett would take about an hour. So it's possible they could go by the Double R on there, but it seemed like it was like right around the corner.
Okay.
And also that you would be getting on you'd get on I-90 and then take 405 up. So you would be driving on interstate to get there, and because it's like 50 miles away, 50, 60 miles. Okay. Depending on how you drive. So what I'm trying to get at is that it's not like it's right around the corner, or that you could easily, you wouldn't get there really super quickly if you took side streets or like back roads.
Right.
But I mean, time.
Yeah, we don't know exactly how much time passed from the time they passed the Double R to the time he got to the Palmer house.
Yeah, and that's kind of what makes this difficult. But yeah.
So Kevin, what do you think?
Well, let me this is what I posted immediately following the episode. No. Why, God, why?
So you didn't like it?
I liked it while hating that part of it. I'm okay with some open-endedness, but there's so much open-endedness where it feels like there's so much that we don't have. How's Annie? So
what you're really upset is that you're not necessarily upset that they didn't, or you're not perturbed that they didn't close up all the existing.
No, if
questions,
there were some things left open, fine.
But where your concern really lies is in the fact that they actually opened up a whole new mystery here.
Yeah, and it's that plus what else has been left open, and the fact that there's a very good chance we'll never get a good answer to any of it.
Well, and don't forget there is a book coming at the end of October.
But even with the book, that's still, I still shouldn't have to buy a book to get an answer to a TV show, an 18-episode TV show.
This isn't a normal TV show.
True, but I mean, I can't imagine that the book is going to have stuff that they couldn't have cut things out of the show and put it into the show instead, Yeah,
I mean, as a show, I liked it, but if you're judging it based on the criteria of what every other show is and what makes every other show good, this show is bad.
Well,
you're gonna have a bad time.
I'm judging it based on a story to be experienced through one medium, not obviously Firewalk with Me is kind of the rule to break that, only because that's all they could do after it got canceled. But I shouldn't have to also go read a book to get answers.
But keep in mind, when Firewalk with Me came out, people were mad because it didn't address the cliffhanger of Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah, sure. But it's one of those I'm trying to think how to put this.
And this also did not address the cliffhanger from Twin Peaks. I mean, it did a little bit, one aspect, but in the How's Annie part, it did not.
Yeah, and we'll never know, probably. That's all I actually care about. I just want to know how she's doing.
Is she okay?
Annie, are you okay?
I don't know. It almost just seems like they have, because there are some... and we kind of talked briefly before we started recording, and there's part of me that with some of the way the question, like the mysteries of the show, I'm reminded a bit of Lost, in the sense where like, oh, okay, they tried answering some, and I get it, where like, we're not always going to have good answers. But it almost seems like this, to a point, like they have all these, awesome things and questions going on, but it's almost like they didn't think far enough ahead to be like, oh, we need to come up with like a good answer,
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, we couldn't come up with anything, so let's just not answer any of it and just make a new mystery.
Well, I think, well, at the same time, I think this is infinitely better than the Lost finale.
It's very different. I just meant that in the sense of the way, certain questions were answered or things were left open and not answered, and how the reactions were to that. Because there weren't like any answers here.
Well, so the other thing was I think you can look at a trio of controversial or maybe divisive sort of finales. If you take this and you take Lost and you take The Sopranos, I definitely feel better about this and The Sopranos than as far as the amount of closure to them than I do something like, or I just feel like it was done better than something like Lost.
So I'd say it's done a little better, but again, it's just the fact that there's so much open-endedness. We didn't get any answers for Audrey, and then a couple of things saying oh, it might have been a dream the whole time, which if that were the case, that's just in my mind the absolute laziest thing that could have been come up with.
Yeah, a lot of people interpret the Lost ending wrong. Like, a lot of people interpret that Lost ending to mean they were dead the entire time.
Oh, no. And that's not what it was. It was just weird magic, blah, blah, blah. But,
yeah.
No, like this, again, even if they gave a couple little answers, did we need to see them driving for so long? Could there not have been another scene with an answer for something? Like, again, even if it's just some side one-off comment or just something like that is fine. But it's just there's so much that is left unknown. It almost feels like, why did I spend so much time? Why,
Well, but at the same time, I would contend that there are enough things that happened along the way where they refer to things happening as being like in a dream that I feel like it being a dream the whole time, quote unquote, would be totally appropriate.
Yeah, to a point, but I mean, for the amount of things that have happened and all that, in that whole, like, if we're going to go the dream route, Inception comes into my mind. Where, that movie, spoiler, for Inception, it ends, is he dreaming or is he awake? But there's still, like, somewhat of a, that's really the only openness of that kind of movie. And, it's done in a smart way, how they do it. Where, with this, again, it's just there's so much, even if it were a dream, I don't know how it could be explained again, in a way, in my mind, that doesn't make it seem like, oh, that's just a cop-out. That's just lazy.
Do you think it was all a dream, and then when Coop woke up in the motel, that was him waking up out of the dream?
But see, that some of it would still have to have been real. So what is and what isn't real? Why would he have been going after Laura Palmer?
That's true.
Because he never would have gone to Twin Peaks in the first place, because she never would have died.
That's true.
And then whose dream is it? Is it multiple people's dreams? Is it Coop's and Laura's dream? Because it can't all be just one person's dream. That wouldn't really make any sense.
I don't think it was a dream.
I don't. I surely hope not. I don't know. Again, I still liked it. I still had a fun time, a good time watching the show. I just wished for a little more closure at the end. That's all I want.
I wasn't expecting it. That was just based on Fire Walk with Me. I knew David Lynch was not going to give us a satisfying conclusion.
Also, I don't know.
He did wrap up. I was surprised he did wrap up the Doppelcooper storyline, though.
Oh, yeah. You kind of had to.
I was surprised how quickly he did it.
Yeah.
Relatively.
Yeah, once Coop came back, it was a matter of, like, minutes. Oh, phone. Oh, he's dead. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get that book when it comes out and read it, but...
Yeah, I think I'm gonna, now that we're done with this, I think I'm gonna read The Secret History of Twin Peaks finally.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. I don't know when I'll get to it, but I'm gonna try to. Yeah, but like I said, like, the show was kind of bad, like, as far as TV shows go. But as a David Lynch weird thing goes, it was good. It's enjoyable.
I mean, it's. I would consider it his, like, magnum opus.
Yeah, it is the most David Lynch of David Lynch things.
And there were parts of this whole thing like that really reminded me, and other people have made the comparison to Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, I actually.
It really feels a lot like Mulholland Drive, which is probably my favorite David Lynch movie.
Not Dune. I still need to watch Dune.
Oh my god, don't watch Dune.
You should watch Dune, but also you shouldn't watch Dune. I'll say watch Dune, but don't do it all in one sitting.
Whatever. But no, I agree. I did think of Mulholland Drive a couple of times when watching this.
So, do you guys want to maybe give a letter grade to the return, and then and then maybe to how you felt overall about the finale?
See,
I mean, it's
tough.
It's hard.
It's tough because it's the not knowing of what the future holds with it that leaves that grade in the balance.
And also, if you're judging it, like giving it letter grades, then you're judging it by the same like criteria you judge every other TV show for, and I don't feel like you should do that with this.
Yeah.
No, I mean, take it on its own. Yeah, just your gut feeling. How did you like it?
Maybe like a B.
For the return or for the finale? For the whole return.
Yeah. Because I thought there was a lot of stuff in the middle where it just dragged and dragged and dragged.
Yeah.
And then the finale, I'd probably give the finale like an A, just because it was kind of what I was expecting, but then also took me for like through some loops and turns and twists.
So, for the whole new series, I'd probably agree B plus ish, maybe A minus highest range. Finale, right now, I'd probably give about the same, like a B. If like the book has some stuff, or there is a follow-up movie, or even if somehow Showtime is like, sure, we'll do a few more episodes, I'd give it like an A plus. But that's all dependent on the future. Like that's all. If there's, because if this is, in my mind, if I knew there was something coming after this, like it's another season, I would be raving on how great this is. But
if Showtime went to David Lynch and said, okay, we're going to let you do 3 more episodes, David Lynch would not give you a satisfying conclusion.
Yeah, I know, but because the fact that there would still be that more to look forward to, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Okay.
Well, but at the same time, if you think that if they went back to him and they said, well, we're going to give you X number of episodes, if you think that there would be a super satisfying conclusion at the end of that Mark Frost and David Lynch were going to give you, then
I don't. But because I still, I think part of this show, there is still that slight glimmer of hope that maybe they'll pick it up for even some more. Like if it does well enough, there'd be future Twin Peaks on Showtime. But, it's all but confirmed at this point that's not happening. But about a B-ish, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I must have really liked this a lot more than you guys did.
I feel like some of this stuff was just a little too fillery, almost. Like, I liked it, but a little too
There
filler.
was a lot of Dougie Jones.
There was a lot of Dougie Jones.
But that made when Coop came back feel all the better. But then Coop was there for like 30 minutes. We had like 2 scenes of full-on Coop. But I did enjoy it. I mean, a B is still good. So what do you think, Totoro?
I would give the return an A plus.
Okay.
And I would probably give the finale an A-. I really liked the whole series. I was just I put my quarter in the jar, or put my quarter in the slot, and just kind of let the ride take me where it was going to take me.
But episode 8.
What about it? It was really good.
Wait, or was it 9? What was the weird one?
It was 8.
8, yeah.
It was 8, yeah.
Like, come on. Why?
Because David Lynch.
Guys, I think we've kind of reached the end of what we can say.
Yeah, I agree.
If that book doesn't answer how Annie is, I don't know if I
It
could
will
watch.
not.
I don't know if I could watch
It
another
will
David
not.
Lynch thing again.
I don't. So what's it called? The book
The Final Dossier.
of?
That's just what it's called. It's called like Twin
Yeah,
Peaks:
Twin
The Final
Peaks.
Dossier.
Okay, so we don't know who wrote it. If it's Cooper after like the events of the show, because things changed. He was right when he said things are going to change after this. It looked like he changed the whole timeline, the whole everything.
So the good news is, that comes out on October 31st. And it's right now it's $13.43 hardcover. You can get the Kindle version for $10. The crucial sequel to the New York Times bestselling The Secret History of Twin Peaks, this novel bridges the two series and takes you deeper into the mysteries raised by the new series.
It bridges it, so maybe it'll say answer how's Annie.
I hope so.
This one looks short. It's only 160 pages.
Oh, that's not going to answer anything.
It's gonna be told from the perspective of
Jerry.
or the author is gonna
Jerry
be the
Horn.
guy in the prison. No, it's gonna be the guy in the jail who was just ruling the whole time.
Yeah, it's just he's gonna be repeating everything. So
Yep.
by comparison, The Secret History of Twin Peaks was 368 pages, and is right now the number one book on Amazon in the humor and entertainment television section.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to add before I wrap up? Okay, I'm wrapping up. Thanks for listening. If you like this, give us the old thumbs up on YouTube and rate us on iTunes. Share us, do all that good stuff. Also, listen to the Alltalk podcast, where we talk about all the geek stuff, and listen to the Geek Box and Comic Conspiracy and Manga Machinations, and Good Job Brain. And thanks for listening. This was our final Twin Peaks episode. We'll be back eventually with something else, though. So we'll see you then.